Before gods had names, my ancestors walked a valley of ash. The wind spoke in sleep-like murmurs, and the bones of beasts shone white as forgotten memories. They moved toward a dying light, carrying fire as if it were a fragile heartbeat. Their leader was a man with a wolf's fang on his staff, Ka. Beside him walked a girl who looked at the sky more than the earth. We call her Luma, a thin beam of dawn at the edge of night. The elders carried a skull filled with embers. The children clung to their mothers like questions not yet asked. None of them spoke of fear, but everyone heard it in the silence between their steps. When the giant beast crossed the horizon like a mountain breathing, they froze. And above them, a single black bird began to draw circles in the dim sky. I wasn't there, but when the wind blows across the ashes of my own fire, it still tells me that story.
It will be all right.
As if I had lived it myself.
Are we there yet?
No.
At the edge of a dry river where water had become the memory of stone, my ancestors made camp. They cooked, they mended, they waited. But something was wrong with the light daylight stretched too thin, as if the sky were holding its breath. Luma drew 2 circles on the rock, one large, one small, the way that Blackbird had circled the sun. The men sharpened spears. The old woman stirred the skull of coals. The children chased dust like lost petals. Ka sat beside the fire, his eyes searching the heavens for an answer that never came. When night fell, a lone wolf called, short, sharp, and final. Not all heard it, but the mothers held their children tighter. Luma's eyes opened wide, as if the dark itself was awakening through her. Back then, words were too young for fear, so they spoke with silence and with breath and with the trembling of their hands.
Karcha. We must be ready.
Then the sun began to die. It didn't fall, it was eaten slowly by a shadow, with no shape. Light folded in on itself. Birds fell quiet. Men dropped to their knees, unable to look up. The fire inside the skull dimmed to a red whisper. Ka roared against the wind, but his voice broke like a branch. Only Luma stood, her eyes holding the last rim of burning gold. Her hand rose toward the sky as if to touch whatever was taking the light away. When darkness swallowed everything, the world finally learned the sound of emptiness. Inside that void, my ancestors heard a heartbeat so clear they thought it came from beyond. To keep from losing their minds, they gave that heartbeat a name. They called it God. Not because a god had descended, but because they needed a place to set down their fear.
Don't worry, my love.
When the light stitched itself back into the sky, Luma pressed her burned hand into the dirt. The smell of her flesh rose like the scent of coming rain.
How?
She drew the same 2 circles again and blew. Ash scattered into the air, shaping a breath that lingered. The mother placed her child's hand into the dust, tracing after her. The others followed, imitating without understanding, as if their bodies remembered something older than thought. Ka lowered his staff, not bowing to the girl, but to what had begun to stand within them all. The first song was born from a sound that wasn't a word, the rush of air through the chest when one weeps silently.
Luma!
From that moment, fire was no longer just warmth. It became proof that something unseen had chosen to see them.
We are safe now.
Yes, the fear is gone. The world breathing again.
But faith always asks for something in return. Storms came. Rain hammered the skull until its coals hissed like snakes. Ka feared the flame would die, and with it the name they had given the unknown. He shouted into the storm as if trying to cage it with sound. Luma bent over the fire, shielding it with her burned hands. When a single spark caught again, the tribe's cries turned to breathless silence. I don't know if gods ever truly need blood, but fear does. And maybe it was through that fear that we learned to touch our own chests and be grateful for the heartbeat still there.
The fire will not die.
Die. Forgive me, Luma.
Rise, Ka.
We build anew, strong and together.
Dawn returned, washing the valley clean. They moved on, planting seeds in soil cracked by fire. Ka walked beside Luma, the shadow finally learning how to walk beside light. Children laughed again. The old woman hummed a melody no one remembered learning. Around each new fire, they built 2 circles of stone and retold the story of the day the sun disappeared and came back. Before every meal, they tore a small piece aside for the flame, whispering, "We remember." What made us human was never the spear or the straight back. It was that small gesture, the act of sharing a part of our hunger with something invisible, because we believed it once shared itself with us.
Hear my voice carried into the heavens.
Seasons passed, and the wind forgot the names of those who first knelt. But the circles remained carved in stone, and every child asked, "Who drew these?" We would answer, "Someone who looked at the sky more than the ground." They'd ask, "Are gods real?" And we'd say yes, whenever you feel fear and still choose not to run. Whenever you place your hand on your chest and still want to lift someone else up. Sometimes at dawn, when the sun wears a thin crown of fire and the clouds close like an eyelid, I hear that sound again, a sound with no word. I break a piece of bread and place it by the flame. No one eats it, but everyone feels warm. If anyone asks why we still sing, I tell this story. Gods were not born from the sky. They were born the moment we gave our fear a name and kept our promise to each other in the dark.